Hi, and welcome to Comedy Recapped. Today we're going to be exploring 1987's Spaceballs, a sci-fi parody film jam-packed with hilarious moments and big stars. Beware, spoilers ahead. Beginning with a word-crawl title screen that resembles those of Star Wars, it is explained that the planet Spaceball is in distress and threatening to steal the atmosphere from a neighboring planet. Next, we watch as a spaceship slowly makes its way across the screen. Inside, we see a man named Dark Helmet make his way onto the bridge of the ship. His subjects are terrified as he walks down the hallway, and when he comes to the end, he raises his visor so he can breathe. When Dark Helmet finds out that one of his subjects went over his head, he puts on a ring that lasers the man's crotch. As guards take the man away in pain, Dark Helmet goes to the coffee machine before he goes to look at the radar. When he sees that they are in range of the planet Druidia, he makes sure that the audience is up to speed on the plan. Meanwhile, on the planet Druidia, Princess Vespa is getting ready to walk down the aisle, but she can't go anywhere without her droid named Dot. Once they find Dot, the princess makes her way down the aisle to marry Prince Valium. On her way down the aisle, she hesitates to confirm that she must go through with this, and she makes it known that she really doesn't want to do this. She ends up running away with Dot, and they fly off into space. Meanwhile, we see Lone Star and Bark flying their RV through space, and they owe Pizza the Hut a lot of money. After hanging up with Pizza the Hut, Barf starts to cry, and they realize that they have to find a way to make money fast. Meanwhile, on the planet Spaceball, we meet President Scrooge, who is assuring people that there are no air shortages on the planet. When his commander comes on the screen, she lets him know that Dark Helmet has Princess Vespa in his sights, and he agrees to be beamed down to the viewing station. When President Scrooge appears, he finds out that his head has been reattached backwards. After they send the president back to his office, he's back in one solid piece, and he tells the commander that he can walk next door without the beaming. When the president comes into the control room, he sees that the princess is just outside their reach, but Dark Helmet is just coming into range. On Dark Helmet's ship, he fires a warning shot at the princess, and she calls her father to get help since she's rich. Her father ends up calling Lone Star to save her, but they aren't too keen on going against Spaceballs. When they hear that he'll give them anything, they agree to save the princess if he'll pay them 1 million space bucks. Soon, the princess gets pulled into the magnetic beam of Dark Helmet, and Lone Star and Barf try to come up with a plan quickly. After they jam communications, and we mean literally jam communications, Lone Star and Barf attach to the princess's ship, and they get them on board in a hurry. As they fly off away, Dark Helmet gets ready to open the princess's ship. He goes to open the ship's door and finds out that no one is there. All of his subjects cover their nuts in fear of him lasering them, but Dark Helmet hears that Lone Star is the one who stole her away. As Dark Helmet closes in on Lone Star flies off with light speed, and Dark Helmet decides that they'll have to go at ludicrous speed instead. As they fly off at ludicrous speed, Dark Helmet really wishes that he had buckled up before telling them to go. After they end up passing Lone Star, Dark Helmet orders them to stop, and he goes flying into the forward console. Back at Lone Star's ship, they realize that they are out of gas, and they are going to have to set down on the closest planet. As they set it down, they land in the roughest way possible, and end up crashing into the sand dunes. Ready to yell at each other, Princess and Lone Star have a slight change of heart once they finally lay eyes on each other. Thanks to Barf, they are able to put their differences aside so they can try to find a way off of the planet. Lone Star tells the princess to only bring what she needs to survive, and they all end up carrying her luggage across the dunes. After a good amount of trekking, Lone Star has had quite enough, and they end up stopping to give the princess a reality check. After deciding that it is more important to keep moving, they end up leaving some luggage behind so they can travel lighter. Just a little bit though. Meanwhile, Dark Helmet is still looking at the scanner to find traces of Lone Star. As an attempt to figure it out, the commander comes up with a grand idea of watching the Spaceball movie to see what happens next. As they fast forward past the parts that already happened, they end up stopping at the exact moment they are now. While the commander tries to explain everything to them, Dark Helmet ends up being more confused than before, but they do spot the location of the princess. On the sand planet, Lone Star and the others stop to make camp. As the two of them get a little more acquainted, Lone Star finds out what happened at her wedding, and the princess realizes that love is a luxury that she can't afford. As she goes on and on about a list of things that she could live without, she starts to get closer to Lone Star until Dot's virgin alarm goes off, and they all decide to go to sleep. The next morning, Lone Star and the others hike under the hot sun, and they hope they find water and other amenities along the way. Eventually, they all pass out in the hot desert sun. Soon, little scavengers arrive and notice all of them passed out in the sand. After the scavengers revive everyone, they lead them away to their home. Dark Helmet and his army land on the planet and start searching for Lone Star and his crew, but the four of them have made it underground. As they make their way further into the ground, they wind up meeting the all-powerful Yogurt. We find out that Yogurt is the keeper of a magic called the Schwartz. He shows them that his time here is spent merchandising the movie. Back on planet Spaceball, President Scroob is disturbed during his private time with news that Dark Helmet still hasn't found the princess. Dark Helmet assures him that his men are combing the desert. Back in Yogurt's area, Lone Star gives him a necklace that he has from his childhood, and he hopes that Yogurt can tell him something about his parents. Sure enough, Yogurt says that he knows, but it's time for his Schwartz training. After some more training, Lone Star finds that he can actually raise the statue with the power of Schwartz, momentarily. Back on the surface, Dark Helmet feels the presence of the Schwartz, and they find the secret entrance. Since he feels the presence of Yogurt inside, Dark Helmet decides to lure the princess out of the secret room instead of them storming the facility. That night, Princess Vespa thinks that she hears her father outside, and once she comes out, she spots him across the dune. When she gets closer, she realizes that she actually was fooled by Dark Helmet. Soon, Lone Star and Barf wake up and realize that Dark Helmet has the princess and Dot. As they leave the planet, Yogurt hopes that they meet again in Spaceballs 2, and he gives Lone Star the Schwartz ring. The RV takes off, and they make their way to save the princess. On Dark Helmet's ship, we find out that he likes to role-play with dolls of everyone, and this story plays out the way that he really wants it to. As his doll begins to get really hot and steamy, his commander barges in and tells him that it's time. President Scroob is notified that the princess has arrived, and we see the princess is strapped up to a table. After Dark Helmet threatens to give the princess the nose that she had before her nose job, the king ends up giving him the combination to the air safe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once the president comes in and finds out the password, he commands them to prepare for their assault. Meanwhile, Lone Star and Barf land on planet Spaceball and take out some guards to take their outfits. As they tread the hallways of the facility, they come to the maximum security section, and they find the princess and Dot in one of the cells. After they take them from their cells, they try to find the way back to the RV, but they are met with resistance from the guards. Soon, other guards appear, and a nice little shootout ensues. As they make their way through a closing door, the enemy seems to have caught up with them, but they soon realize that they actually caught their stunt doubles. Once the crew makes it to the RV, the princess tries to explain that she hates guns, but when somebody shoots her hair, she goes crazy on everyone and shoots them down. President Scroob and Dark Helmet approach planet Druidia, and they pull up to the air shield. Lone Star and his crew watch on as the dark ship transforms into a mega space robot that looks like a maid with a vacuum cleaner. Dark Helmet tells them to commence Operation VacuSuck, and the maid starts to suck all of the air out of the planet's atmosphere. As the group tries to figure out a way to reverse the vacuum, Barf comes up with the idea of using the power of the Schwartz to reverse the maid. Sure enough, Lone Star reverses the flow, and they head into the maid to try and figure out how to blow the ship. Once they find the self-destruct module, Lone Star leaves the ship to try and finish the mission. As he makes his way through a number of guards while using the power of the Schwartz, he eventually finds the self-destruct button. As he goes to push the button, he is stopped by Dark Helmet, who explains that he is an extended family member's roommate. After realizing that that means nothing, they ignite their sabers and fight. Dark Helmet even kills a cameraman in the process. When Dark Helmet takes Lone Star's Schwartz ring, he thinks that he wins, but Yogurt reaches out to Lone Star to explain that the Schwartz has been within him this whole time. After using the Schwartz, Lone Star ends up knocking Dark Helmet into the self-destruct button, and the entire facility runs to abandon ship. Once Lone Star makes it to the RV, he takes off and flies them straight out of the facility. As the rest of the facility hops into escape pods, everyone makes it out except for President Scroob, Dark Helmet, and his commander. As they hold each other tight, the facility counts down and blows up just as Lone Star makes it out with everyone. As they drop off the princess, they finally get a good look at the prince that she'll marry. Afterwards, Lone Star and Barf head to a nearby diner. Back on the planet Druidia, Princess Vespa is ready to marry her prince, but she finds out that Lone Star didn't actually take the $1 million space buck payout. Back on the RV, Lone Star opens up a fortune cookie that Yogurt gave him, and the spirit of Yogurt explains that he's actually a certified prince. After hearing this, he makes his way back to planet Druidia in an attempt to stop Princess Vespa from marrying her sleepy prince. When we see the wedding, the princess still can't believe that Lone Star didn't take the money, and it becomes clear to her that Lone Star actually loves her. Just as it comes time for her to say "I do," Prince Lone Star shows up and asks Princess Vespa if she'll marry him, and they get the short version of the wedding. After they kiss, they ride off into the galaxy with their just married RV. Anyone that is a fan of Star Wars just has to watch this at least once. Other than that, if you're a fan of Mel Brooks or spoofy 80s comedy, then this is for you. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single video.